Hello goddesses, it's Sarah Keats here with the Green Goddess. I'm outside today on my own. My kitties and husband are away and I am just connecting with Mama Nature, and it feels so good listening to the birds and the river rush and just getting some much needed me time. Today I wanted to share with you what I've been up to here. I'm going to make one of my favorite seasonal dishes of all time. It's called Nettle Spanakopita, and it was made famous by, or at least to my knowledge, it was made famous in my mind by my herbalist teacher, Rosemary Gladstar. In one of her books that I truly just cherish and refer to for so many of my medicinal recipes and teas and any ailments or issues that we're having at home, I'll share the book with you in the comments or in the show notes. And so every year I gather stinging nettle and I make Nettle Spanakopita. It's made with layers of buttery phyllo pastry and ricotta cheese and egg and feta cheese and lots of fried onions. And then these delicious stinging nettles get steamed and mixed with butter and the onions, and it gets put in this phyllo pastry. And it is just to die for, and my children love it so much. So does my husband. It really is a true winning recipe for Keats family. So just so you know, stinging nettles have probably a bad rap across the world for the sting that they can impart if you happen to brush up against a stinging nettle. You can see the little hairs here along the stem, and they are also located on the underside of the leaves too. Let's see if I can get, yeah, you can see them there. And these little prickly things, they're kind of like hypodermic needles, and if they get brushed up against the skin or your finger, or wherever, ankles, part of the body, whatever part of the body this comes in contact with, they can definitely sting you. And those little needles insert themselves into your skin and deposit, I think it's formic acid, which can leave you feeling definitely stung, a little bit itchy, and depending on how bad you react and how many you came in contact with, you can have a rash or redness, hives, swelling, that kind of thing. We went on a road trip once to British Columbia, and I came in contact with stinging nettle there when we were on a little road trip. And I found that their stinging nettle was quite a bit more stingy than our stinging nettle that we have here in the Peace River region in northern Alberta. So I'm not sure if there must be different varieties. I find that their stinging nettle that they had in BC was quite a bit larger. The leaves were quite a bit larger, and they were quite big and heart-shaped leaves. But you can see that these leaves on most of the stinging nettle, that at least that I can find, are quite long, skinny leaves, like that one there. They're quite long and skinny, and they lack that heart shape that the ones in BC had, or that I sometimes see herbalists talk about. So you can see that the leaves have quite a serrated, toothy edge. You see those angular ridges. And the leaves grow opposite to each other. So on a stalk, you will find, if you find a leaf at 12 o'clock, you'll find a leaf at 6 o'clock. And then as you move up, you'll find the next pair of leaves. They'll be at 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock and 3 o'clock. So they alternate like that. And so, yeah, I'm curious if you've ever been able to identify stinging nettle on your land. It's everywhere on my land, and it often wants to be in areas that are quite rich in, like the soil is quite rich. They can be found quite often where an old barn was located, or where there's a lot of compost or manure maybe. And I think on our lands there used to be animals here, and so we have a lot of stinging nettle, which I'm very grateful for. Why I'm grateful for it is because, well, I don't find the sting all that bad. I often will actually handle the leaves just barehanded. And the key to not getting stung is that if you're scared, let's say this is, the leaf, the plant growing out of the ground. If you're really gentle and like scared to touch it, you're going to get stung. But if you go in to that leaf and you pinch hard and break it off with your nail, you won't get stung. And why that is because you'll break those with the pressure of your fingers. You will break those little hypodermic type needles, and you won't get stung. You might get stung the odd time, but you know what? That's actually a thing. It's called urtication. Urtication is when you purposely take the stinging nettle, by the way, which is called Urtica dioica. So urtication is when you purposely take these little needly things and you hit yourself with them. So you would expose your skin and you would whip yourself with them, or you would purposely sting yourself. And why would you want to do that? Well, it's because these little stings that you get on the skin, they're really amazing at moving stagnant blood in that area. So particularly if you suffer with arthritis, carpal tunnel, any kind of pain or inflammatory conditions, you can use the stinging nettle in that area wherever you're suffering, and it will really get the blood moving and clean up that area. So this was totally a thing, urtication, to take them and to whip the skin basically with them. I've been stung a little bit on my hands just as I was picking the nettles, and I don't mind the feeling. Like I said, in BC it was worse. Here I don't find it too bad. It tingles a little bit. I'm pretty sensitive skin type, and I don't break out in a rash. I got a little bit on this finger here. You can see it's a little bit red maybe there. But yeah, I don't mind it at all. So why on earth might you want to go out of your way to pick stinging nettle, put it in a jar, take it in your home and use it? I don't know if you guys know this, but stinging nettle in my herbalist world is considered the herb of our time, especially where we live in the Pacific Northwest. This here is probably the most nutrient dense plant that we have available to us where we live. There's a saying in the essential oil world that I hear, and it's when in doubt, use frankincense. And in the herbalist world, we say, when in doubt, use nettle. Stinging nettle is incredible for many, many, many ailments, and not just ailments, for just superb health. Like, apparently, I've been listening to some of my favorite herbalists, like Herbal Jedi, that's Yarrow Willard of BC, of Harmonic Arts. Susan Weed, which is one of my favorite American herbalists. Rosemary Gladstar, which is my herbalist teacher. They all say that stinging nettle is so nutritive for you that if you want incredible energy, stamina, if you're sleep deprived, if you're a stressed out mom, if your adrenals are shot, if you have a teenager who wants to sleep all day, if you're suffering with menopausal issues, if you're a man and you have man issues, prostate issues, anything, you guys. If you're just feeling like you're not at your best, like you need a boost of energy, Susan Weed says that you should drink 1 quart, which is 1 liter, of nettle infusion every day if you can, but certainly a couple quarts, a couple liters a week. So how you do that is you dry the nettle. If you have a dehydrator, you can just let it sit out. Once you pick the leaves off, you can spread it out on your counter or your tabletop and just let the leaves dry. It will take a while, so I like using my dehydrator. And you use them in tea. You make a very strong infusion. And she suggests using 1 ounce of dried herbs, which is probably equal to about a cup, maybe even more. And you put that in a glass mason jar, a 1 liter mason jar, about a cup of herb. You weigh it out to be 1 ounce. And then you cover that with boiling water, where you run your kettle, you pour it over the herb, and then you seal it, you cap it. And you let that infusion or that tea sit for at least 4 hours or overnight, whatever's easiest for you. And then you strain it and you drink it. I mean, you can sweeten it with honey. You can drink it warm. You can drink it iced. It doesn't matter. Susan Weed likes actually putting a little pinch of salt in it. She feels that a little pinch of salt benefits the flavor more so than honey. But you do what tastes good for you. If you have to add a little mint in here to make it more tasty so that you'll actually drink your medicine, then do it. But she said that drinking 1 quart of stinging nettle infusion, a strong infusion of at least 4 hours or overnight, using 1 ounce of herbs, not like, oh, we're going to use 1 or 2 teaspoons in a cup. No, she's talking strong infusions. She said within 3 or 4 days, you will notice a difference in your energy and your vitality. So I think I'm going to try this because lately I've been feeling, even with the spring, we've been working very hard in our garden, and I am so exhausted. And I just feel like maybe sometimes my diet isn't up to par, and I do need to improve my minerals and nutrient uptake. And stinging nettle is where it's at for that. Okay. So I wanted to share that with you. And you know what I'll do? I will share some pictures of the Nettle Spanakopita that we make with this. So essentially, you guys, you can use these leaves in tea. You could make a tincture with it. But a tea is a great choice, or you use these leaves as a substitute for spinach. So anything that you want to substitute spinach in, any recipes, lasagna, spanakopita, like I'm going to make these leaves, these nettle, will be so much better for you than spinach ever could be, okay? Now, just so you know, in case like Sarah, like if I were to pull one of these leaves and start munching on it right now, I would get stung in my mouth, and that might not be so fun. But the moment that you steam the leaves, or you dry the leaves, or you puree them up in put them in a smoothie, put them in a blender, all those little needles break and you won't get stung, okay? So you could, even if you wanted to munch on a leaf, you could pluck one and you could just roll it between your fingers like this, and all those needles will be broken now, and then you can pop it in your mouth. Okay. And it doesn't taste bad. It's not a bad tasting herb. So I dare you, a double dog dare you, to go out and find yourself some stinging nettle. And make sure you dry some for your wintertime teas. Obviously, a lot of it, according to Susan Weed, if you're using 1 ounce per liter, right? 1 ounce of herb per liter of water. So there you have it. I'm going to snip all these leaves off. One thing, a caution that I feel I will respectfully pass on to you, although I have just recently read that it hasn't been proven. So anyways, what it is that they say you should stop harvesting the nettle leaves once the plant flowers and seeds. So you can see that it's starting to produce its little flowers here. And it's kind of starting to get past its prime, according to common stories that you hear on the interweb. But I was just reading from a herbal college that this has always been a story that's gone around that you should stop harvesting it once it goes to flower and seed, because it can be damaging to your, you can get like gallstones. There's something happens chemically in the plant that changes, and it can be damaging to your urinary tract, like bladder. I don't even fully know. But then I just read that that's never been proven. But I feel like, respectfully, I will pass on that info to you, whether it's correct or incorrect. At this time, I'm not fully sure, and I will try to find the answer to that for you. But our family just tends to harvest from the top portion of the plant. So you only want the young, new, fresh growth from the top. Usually you don't want the older, gnarly leaves that grow at the bottom of the plant. So yeah, harvest from the top. And if it's gone to seed or flower, maybe pass it up or look for another little patch that's just young. And if you have stinging nettle on your land and you want to see it continue to grow and flourish, you can do what I did, and you can just chop off the top of the stem, and the leaves that have been left on the plant, they will send up new growth. These new little leaves will grow. So if you just keep cutting the top off, your plants will just keep getting bushier and not so tall and skinny. It will just stay smaller, bushier, and you'll be able to harvest for a longer period of time from it. Okay? I hope that was helpful for you guys. So remember, stinging nettle for all of the things, but particularly energy, vibrant energy. According to Susan Weed, drinking this on a regular basis will nourish you from deep within, and it will give you long-lasting, vibrant energy. You know what you're seeking when you drink a cup of coffee every day? That feeling? Well, if you can just replace that with a quart of, or a liter of stinging nettle infusion every day, or drink a couple cups every day, you'll be much more on your way to having that buzz that you want out of life. So there you are. Hope that was helpful. Comment below if you have any questions. Message me if you need to. Share this with anybody you think might find it useful. All right. Green blessings to you all. I hope you have a beautiful day, whatever you are doing. Bye-bye.